welcome to Leaders of Tomorrow, India's only daily television platform for small businesses. We bring you the right information to empower you, the SME entrepreneur. Tonight on the show, we're bringing you highlights of a panel discussion that we did from India's tourism capital, Goa, talking about economic diversification in Goa. Should small businesses look beyond tourism? Are they looking beyond tourism? And what some of the state's experts had to say about ground realities. Take a listen. Before we kick off the panel this evening, it's my pleasure to welcome up on stage Dr. Ashok Tusu. He's the Executive Director of LMI. He's going to be talking on leadership and emerging imperatives of leadership in the country today. Welcome, sir.
Economic diversity is a huge thing. One has existing industries or services in a country, but there is always opportunity to do more, and there is huge opportunity, but this requires visionary leadership. At LMI, we worked with a very large swath of people in the large industry, but particularly in the small and medium service scale industry and businesses. And we have found that there are gaps in leadership. These gaps may arise out of a lack of focus. They may arise out of being problem-centric. They may arise out of blaming the external environment while not focusing on what is it that I can do as a leader. And we've helped them move onwards. We have worked with a lot of people and we've helped them transform themselves, which is the first imperative found in a McKinsey study again. The second is to transform your people, and the third is to transform your businesses. Once you do these three things, then you can seize opportunity which is there.
I want to kick this evening off by asking both of our entrepreneurs to my immediate left, if you can please introduce your businesses very briefly to our audience.
Sure. Sunada, first of all, thanks inviting on this panel over here. I'm Utkarsh Dabade, Managing Director and CEO of Goa Miles. So Goa Miles is one of the best success story what we started writing on the wall over here in Goa when it comes to the example of SME and the PPP contribution. Okay, it's a kind of PPP contribution. First of all, this is a great initiative by government where there is a end-to-end support provided to have the success of this model over here. It's not an investment support. Let me clarify on that part. When it comes to PPP, it's a hand-in-glove support for executing the things.
Our startup is Sustainable Biosolutions. I'm a BITS Pilani alumni. So basically, we are into solid and liquid waste management. What we do is we have a technology that can convert or recycle sewage or any wastewater into till the level of drinking. So we have commercialized that technology and we are implementing it throughout Goa and states nearby.
Thank you so much for those opening comments, and this is open to the entire panel at this point, and that's today's theme. We're discussing Goa's economic diversification, and my question is for a state that is known for its strength in tourism and also has many other industries, whether it is, say, the ports business, whether it's mining, whether it's energy, etc. Should the state look at developing other regions, given that, yes, we're all aware of the kind of challenges we're seeing in the state of tourism here in Goa? What should be the immediate next steps? A case for or against growing beyond it just being a tourism hub is open to all of you.
But natural that you can't place all your eggs in the same basket. It's but natural that Goa has to leverage its strengths. Goa has a very high literacy rate. Goa has a very high quality of living, and that's true because all of you are coming down to Goa. The brand is attractive, the place is attractive. So Goa has to play to its strengths and look at some movement towards knowledge-based industry, some movement towards being a hub of some nature or the other, be it an airline hub, or be it a nautical tourism hub, or be it a cruise hub. So it's yes, Goa does have a little bit of business apart from tourism. We had a very vibrant mining industry. We have an active manufacturing industry. We are moving towards a lot of quality educational institutions moving into Goa. But yes, there's lots to be done.
Particular issue, I think there are sufficient studies world over, including by World Bank, which says that a small state like ours, Goa, if it is focusing only one or two, we are highly vulnerable to disruption. And then mining is one of the classic example here. So diversification is a must in my view. Goa now is building so many good institutions. IITs, BITS is already there, and then NIT. And as we increase the education level of education that we offer here, I think we will be able to handle more and more frontiers, more and more sectors.
Sure. Mr. Desai, so if I can flip that around and say, shouldn't you build then maybe on the strengths that you have as a tourism hub? Because there are clearly a lot of challenges that need to be fixed in tourism. Shouldn't you focus on that?
Yes, well, historically, for the last 3-4 decades, we have been dependent upon tourism as a major sector of our economy. But yes, it does not bode well for any economy to have too many eggs in one basket. I completely agree with my fellow panelists. And I think Goa has tremendous scope for emerging as a knowledge-based economy. We are doing very well in the pharma sector. Of course, typically we are not very strong in the traditional bricks and mortar kind of a traditional manufacturing sector. But yes, tourism is one vibrant, dynamic industry. And it has been placed very highly, especially by the policymakers at the center, because tourism is one sector where, as per Planning Commission, for every 1 million rupees invested, creates jobs for almost 78 people, which is the highest compared to even agriculture as well as manufacturing, which are far lower than what it is. So, from job creation point of view, tourism indeed is a shining star, but then it is not enough, because you can't run the whole state on tourism, particularly when the state has been at crossroads due to closure of mining operations, and that hit us very hard. So I'm sure the policy is moving in the right direction, but obviously there's a lot of work to do. We are facing challenges in terms of existing infrastructure not being good enough or falling short. So these are the areas that I think policymakers will have to look.
Okay, Mr. Bhandare, it seems like everyone is agreeing on this panel that you have to definitely look beyond tourism. Would you want to agree with the panel or differ?
I too would agree, but I also feel this way, that it is not that we got to ignore tourism. There's still a lot of value addition which could be done for the tourism. So far, what kind of tourism that we have been looking across is a kind of a passive tourism, where a tourist just comes here, just has a look at the nature, maybe the beaches, serene beaches of the Goa, maybe the temples and the churches standing side by side. But beyond that, there has not been much kind of an activity. I think we got to generate to the next level of tourism, which is an immersive tourism. If you are having a beaches there, could you surf around it? Could you do the sailing? Could you do the yachting kind of this thing? Could you have the hot air balloon rides? So this is one part of the story. And at the same time, we could also have an industry. It is not that one is against the other. So whereas we should also try to see that the tourism is developed, we should also try to have more industries, and towards which I think we have been progressing.
Sure. Okay. Very quickly then, I do want to talk about some of the challenges, open again to everyone on this panel. One or two of the top challenges that you're seeing, because everyone is saying, yes, we should move beyond tourism, but these are the things that need to be fixed. But what are those one or two things that perhaps need to be fixed, and fixed urgently, if you are to continue consolidating the kind of strengths that you have in the space of tourism?
The brand is looking at only one dimension. Goa also has a lot of other things that can attract industry, as well as attract top talent. So Goa is a terrific place to live, which is very important for good talent. Goa has one of the highest per capita income. Therefore, it's a terrific market for companies to be able to attract. And Goa also has, a good education base, especially on technology. Goa is also, right now we look at the per capita number of incubators. Goa probably tops the list today, right? So I think for technology, value-add industries, so to say, the only flip side is for lower land requirement kind of industries, Goa seems to be really the best place in the country today. But we need to, people outside Goa don't see that. They only see Goa as really a tourism hub.
Sure.
So I think that's really the challenge for us.
So you would say mindset and perception to some
Absolutely.
extent? Okay.
Absolutely, yeah.
So the challenge, one more challenge as I see is, I think government is doing great things. That's very, very positive. But I think it has to be a little more proactive and a little more faster, because I think there's so much to catch up. So in order to attract investment from outside, big players to Goa, I understand from some of the people whom I talk to that there should be some more aggressive policy changes, which maybe one can get into more
so
detail,
mindset, policy changes,
faster changes.
faster policy changes. Anything you want to add?
Well, I think one of the biggest challenges that we have today is what do we offer in terms of livelihood and economic satiation to our youth who are passing out in large numbers from very esteemed institutes. No doubt Goa has become a very important, with the kind of brands moving in, be it NIT, IIT, be it BITS, Pilani, etc. We are creating the manpower. But the biggest challenge is, do we have enough well-paying jobs to hold the talent pool within Goa? I think not. So the migration of this talent pool, which is going outside Goa, leaves us with very, very little talent pool, especially at the top echelons where it matters the most. So I think one has to really think in that direction to stem the tide, because what do you do when you have the best talent going out of your state? It is being replaced by not so good talent coming from elsewhere. So that's a very big challenge, that retention of existing talent will form the next base for Goa to move several notches higher, in my opinion.
I'm going to slip into a very short break on that note, but much more on the other side. Just stay tuned. Welcome back. You're with us here on Leaders of Tomorrow, continuing to bring you the highlights for panel discussion from Goa.
Akshat, as an entrepreneur who's based here, my question to you is, what your experience has been. If you can just take about a minute or two and talk to our audience about what your experience has been of starting out in Goa.
When we were in BITS Pilani, I did my master's. So there was a problem of sewage treatment in our campus, especially. At that time, there was all smelly water which was being recycled in our campus. So me and my partner, we saw that problem. We collaborated with a French researcher, and we have modified a technology to work for commercial sewage. And we have put our innovation, our knowledge into that, and we come out with a solution. Our first customer was BITS Pilani. We have resolved their problem. From there, we have picked it up. So,
was it easy or difficult to be based here in Goa?
See, ease of doing business was always there. We haven't found any difficulties. The difficulties which we face are very common. Like if we are going to a customer or client, they'll ask for experience.
Okay. So that's always great to hear from an entrepreneur that it's not more difficult perhaps to do business in Goa than any other state. To this entire panel, one challenge I want to talk about is fundraising. What perhaps an entrepreneur is telling you, what perhaps a business is telling you about fundraising when you're based in a place like Goa? Is it perhaps harder than if you were based in, say, Mumbai or a Delhi or a Bangalore?
Let me share my experience over here. Okay. So first of all, I'll start with the challenges part. Okay. The change management, I think, apart from the mindset and other thing, the change management is the biggest challenge in Goa. And I'll give a typical example. If you go to any activity which are happening at the beach side, there is no digital payment acceptance. It's cash economy. The simple thing, change management, but they don't want to adopt. There is a traditional business there, from last 20 years or 30 years. They want to sustain on the same business. The sharks will be there. They will be there for 6 months. Again, they wind up. Again, they come back. But there is no, innovation in that, right? And the same challenge what we face when we come over here as a, the most innovative thought to bring the transparent and transport aggregation system over here. And it is laid down on a two basic principles, keeping in mind the Goan interest over there. A zero commission from the driver's pocket. One of the first kind of initiative in the country where there is no money has to be taken from the driver's pocket. And the second principle laid down by the government was there should not be any, apart from these charges, there should not be any surcharge and there should be minimal conveyance fee to the passenger. On these two principles, when we started, we got a lot of repulsion for the change management. And it took almost 6 months to 9 months for us to convince the local mindset over there. This is in their interest. This is for the local other SMEs also. This is for the hospitality industry also. And trust me, we are successful, by now, I can say that, started from 10 lakh rupees of, turnover per month, we reach up to now almost a 40 CR per annum.
Sure. Do either of you maybe want to take that on? Yeah.
So the point that you talked about funding, Goa at the end of it is 1 hour away from Mumbai, 1 hour away from Bangalore, and maybe 2.5, 3 hours from Delhi. So access to the fundraising ecosystem is not very complex. The government has taken steps to try and develop the ecosystem in Goa, and they're moving in that direction as well. So you have the, I forget the exact full form, but the International Venture Capitalist Forum, which is being organized in Goa every year, in December every year. That's an opportunity for Goan businesses to network directly with these very high-end venture capitalists. Being a small place, it's very easy to get access to HNIs in Goa, comparatively to a Bombay or a Delhi. And I think that's an advantage. Plus, you can always tie in with the ecosystems over there by just flying down and meeting the people who've got the money in a Bombay or a Delhi or a Bangalore. So I don't think fundraising is a big challenge for somebody who really wants to. I think the bigger challenge is drive. If a person really wants to, then I don't think there's any challenge about fundraising in Goa.
Okay. You were talking about mindset, you were talking about drive. There was a point made earlier as well about the mindset, really. My question is, do you think perhaps that Goa is a little, has maybe lost a lot of opportunities when it comes to what's happening across the country? We've seen, places like Bangalore, for instance, Bombay, Delhi, becoming known for certain things when it comes to, say, technology, startups, etc. Do you think perhaps it's late, or do you think, you can easily catch up given the advantages, the skill sets that we have, the capital, the fact that it's a great city to and a great state to really live in? Do you think these things will work in its benefit?
So definitely, I agree with you in that sense that Goa has probably missed a bus and probably missed a number of buses. But there's always a next one coming up. There's a next curve that you can hitch on to. And the positive way of looking at it is that we've probably avoided the kind of a mess that's happened from a traffic scenario in many other cities or other issues that we have. And we've got good learning, and we can move on to the next thing. So what is the next big thing that Goa can go after? I think that would be the way I would look at this point. There's ample scope for people who've got more white hair to come in, advise, and talk to the government of Goa and talk about that this is the next sector that you should be focusing on. So I think there's always a next opportunity.
Okay. So just to add to that, sure. More than a lost opportunity, I think it's Ashok mentioned about comfort zone. Even let us take tourism. I don't think we have sufficiently used technology. For example, just to give an example, augmented reality. Have we sufficiently used it for tourism? I think that will take tourism to the next level. I think there is a comfort zone that it's happening, but if you really see, have we used technology to the possible extent? I think there's a big scope there.
Hi, I'm Dattaprasad Shetkar. I organize the local TED Talks in Goa. What I find in this whole discussion is like everybody is saying there is a bus that Goa is missing. Actually, as Mr. Bhandari just mentioned, the buses are parked. It's for Goans to choose whether they want to take it. The economic diversification is for whom now? So if we bring industry from outside, and if suppose the employment is 80% for people who actually migrate to Goa, and only 20% is for the local Goans, that is where you find this opposition happening.
Fair enough.
I'll take that one. I'll just respond to that. Saying, Datta Prasad has been I know Datta Prasad. Like Datta Prasad, I have, 90% of the students who are Goan at GIM, they go for really lucrative careers in some of the top companies in the country and worldwide. And Goa has a draw. So they want to come back at some point in time. And when they come back, they don't have good enough employment options here from 2 points. One is from the point of view of giving work satisfaction. And the second is also a decent enough remuneration and kind of lifestyle. Most of them, therefore, are forced to start something of their own. It's good. I mean, it contributes to the economy. I can just say that out of the Goan alumni that I have, 90% of them plus do their own businesses. The rest of the country, the alumni and rest of the world that we have alumni, it wouldn't even be like 15% of people. That's because they're forced to do that. So while it's true that you'll have to look at this, also when you're generating high caliber, content, talent, you should have an opportunity to be able to give enough of opportunity for that. And that's not happening.
Sure.
I'll just add to that. It's a very relevant point that you have made. But for example, our vocational and all other kinds of education have to be steered in the direction where probably the policy intervention are the highest. For example, Goa has become the permanent venue of the International Film Festival of India. That presents a great opportunity to build everything around that particular core activity, because Goans are immensely talented in the fields of art, culture, performing arts, drama. We have got amazing names, great names who have carved a niche for themselves in the Bollywood industry. So why not that talent is nurtured here in Goa? So what about a small post-production, pre-production school? We have over 200 film shoots happening in Goa. There is a demand for line producers, there's a demand for a lot of technicians, there's a demand for a lot of editing work that can actually happen here in Goa. And there are so many Goans which I know who have migrated to Hyderabad Film City or Mumbai Film City or even beyond that. And they have done great. So I think this is one example where we can, Goans will love what they're doing, they'll earn much more, and it will create a sustainable environment. From our side, what we have done, just last point, whatever new services that we are incubated, I am looking at, we have incubated over 20 services, be it hot air balloon or scuba diving or adventure sports or heritage boat cruises or the Goa Miles. We have been emphasizing that 80%, minimum 80% of your employment should be for people who are based here.
A lot of Goans are working in cruise liners around the world. If Goa becomes a cruise hub, there's a huge revenue that comes into Goa, and a lot of Goans who are already working in this industry around the world have a chance to come back. It's a reverse brain drain. Same is the case with yachts. So you've got sailing or nautical tourism. A lot of boats pass by Goa. You have a historic port, Gopakapatnam, which was there. A lot of yachts pass by Goa from Europe to Southeast Asia. And there's a huge opportunity for them to stop here, adds a lot to the state economy, and a lot of Goans are already working in this industry around the world. And it's ecologically sensitive. At the same time, it's a huge opportunity because this can be done in a very eco-sensitive manner.
Utkarsh, I'll let you have the last word.
See, all these things, the basic part for, initiating all the aspect is the investment, right? And if there is a focus for the right investment around the tourism ecosystem or the industry which can be coexist along with the tourism and the local skill set what he has mentioned over there, right? So that focus probably government need to bring, first forward and say that, all the investment coming towards rather putting the chemical industry, rather putting the other mechanical industry, right? All the ecosystem which can sustain and support along with the tourism, that has to be nurtured well.
All right, gentlemen, on that note, thank you very much for your time here.
All right, that wraps up our show tonight. If, like Goa, you would want us to come to your city or your state, do let us know. leadersoftomorrow@timesgroup.com is our email ID on social media. Get in touch with us. Sunanda_J on Twitter, LOT_ET now is our official Twitter handle. You can also reach us on Facebook, Leaders of Tomorrow on ET now. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.